Remember when Donald Trump once said,
"We are going to build a great border wall. We're going to build a wall. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall."
"We're building a wall and Mexico's paying for this." Now picture this. Red Bull built one of sport's greatest empires. And we're Mexico. Every time you buy a can of late night boost or a post-workout push, you're knowingly or unknowingly financing Formula One teams, cliff divers, football clubs, and many more. Welcome to the Red Bull playbook, where the consumer pays for the spectacle.
Okay, you ready? Who's gonna pay for the wall? Who?
R-E-D, boo!
Now, the origin story for Red Bull is actually widely known. I mean, a simple look up on YouTube will show countless stories about the origin story of Red Bull. But it's worth highlighting the partnership that made this possible. In 1982, Dietrich Mateschitz, an Austrian toothpaste salesman, stumbled upon a Thai energy tonic called Creating the Tongue, created by Cleo Uvida, to keep truck drivers alert. Together, they forged a partnership that would change the beverage world forever. But here's where the genius lies. They didn't just repackage the drink, they reinvented and repositioned it. By turning a humble roadside tonic into a premium lifestyle product, doubling its price and wrapping it in mystery and exclusivity, they created a brand that would ignite curiosity and spread like wildfire. Now here's where we, the consumer, step into the story. Now, unlike traditional beverage giants who plastered their products on TV jingles and billboards, Red Bull took a radically different approach. They poured resources into niche high adrenaline sports that mainstream sponsors wouldn't touch. BMX championships, cliff diving, soap sports racing, and wingsuit flying. Really? Today, Red Bull invests roughly $2 billion annually into marketing, with about 70% of that funneled directly into sports ventures. Their Formula One team alone gulps $700 million a year. And who's funding it? Every single can you buy is fueling this extreme sports and media juggernaut, turning everyday consumer spending into sponsorship dollars for some of the world's most daring spectacles. So, what's really inside this iconic blue and silver can? Caffeine, roughly the same as a small coffee, plus sugar, taurine, and B vitamins. No secret rocket fuel, no magic potion, just a simple energy drink. Yet every sip feeds a reinforcing loop. You buy a Red Bull for energy, and that money bankrolls teams, events, and athletes who create breathtaking content, which in turn entices you and millions more to keep buying. Red Bull didn't just build a beverage brand. They engineered a self-sustaining sports ecosystem, funded entirely by everyday people looking for a quick boost. More than that, they wrote the marketing playbook that defined the entire energy drink category. A strategy so powerful it became the standard operating procedure for the industry. So the next time you grab a Red Bull, remember, you're not just buying an energy drink. You're paying for perhaps the greatest sports empire ever built. And that's exactly how Red Bull planned it. How is it possible that one of the best performing stocks of the past 30 years isn't Apple or Amazon, but an energy drinks company? I mean, seriously, since Monster's Energy's IPO in 1990, its stock has grown by nearly 2,000%. So to put that in perspective, if you invested $10,000 back then, you'd be sitting on $19 million today. And that's real cash money. But who's the mastermind behind this caffeinated empire? And how did Monster become such an unstoppable force? Meet Rodney Sacks, Monster's elusive founder. Born in Johannesburg, South Africa in 1949 to Lithuanian Jewish immigrants, Rodney was never the obvious pick for an energy drinks mogul. He studied law locally at Wits University, quickly climbing the ranks to become the youngest partner of South Africa's largest law firm. But after 2 decades in corporate law, he craved something different. So in 1989, Rodney packed up his life, leaving behind a prestigious legal career for sunny California. Now, the energy drinks market hadn't taken off in the US, and Rodney initially set his sights on smoothies. Think jumbo juice bottled for convenience stores. But first, he needed distribution. He found his opportunity in Hansen's, a struggling juice company founded in 1935.
Some things in life are inspirational, like the flavors of Hansen soda. Give me the taste of natural.
Known for supplying Hollywood's movie sets, in 1992, Rodney raised $14 million through a leveraged buyout to acquire Hansen's, a business that, despite the financial troubles, had critical assets, a robust distribution network. Initially, Rodney's smoothie business didn't go well, but things really changed when Red Bull stormed the US market in 1997. Seeing this explosive trend, Hansen's launched Hansen's Energy, a mild success that missed its mark by targeting health-conscious consumers. Rodney realized he needed to pivot. He went back to basics, targeting the 18 to 25-year-old American male. Those craving adrenaline, action, and big experiences. In 2002, Monster Energy was born, a bigger, bolder 16-ounce American can, priced identically to Red Bull, a smaller European version. It was a no-brainer for consumers. Monster hit the market with a bang, quickly capturing attention through aggressive marketing. They sponsored extreme sports from BMX to snowboarding, becoming an inseparable part of youth culture. Musicians like Korn and Suicidal Tendencies were paid to appear on stage holding Monster cans, often filled with water. Monster wasn't just an energy drinks company. it became a cultural icon. I mean, for goodness sake, Monster even sponsors Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT of F1 Formula Racing.
Lewis Hamilton, the man from Stevenage, champion!
Champion, 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 champion,
Champion of the world!
Monster's true brilliance wasn't just in dominating its niche. It was in continuously reinventing itself while maintaining deep loyalty to its core audience. In 2013, Monster launched Zero Ultra, known effectively as White Monster, a citrus-infused, sugar-free, zero-calorie drink. White Monster broke the classic mold of black and green branding with a sleek, matted white can, yet still unmistakably represented the Monster ethos. Despite its seemingly lighter persona, White Monster resonated powerfully with young men on construction sites, college campuses, and beyond. Crews traded their white bottles for coolers filled with white cans, becoming staple fixtures of their daily routines. Online forums buzzed with enthusiasm, showcasing Monster's uncanny ability to evolve its identity without alienating its hardcore fans. It wasn't just a new product, it was identity reinforced for a generation. With rapid growth, Monster expanded its product line, initially stumbling with names like Roomba, Samba, and Joker Energy. But the lesson was clear: stick to the Monster brand. Soon came hits like Monster Zero, Monster Java, Monster Rehab, each leveraging the power of the recognizable trusted name. But their real competitive edge was distribution. In 2014, Coca-Cola invested $2.5 billion for a 16.7% stake, supercharging Monster's global distribution. Now, Monster could easily go toe-to-toe with Red Bull all around the world. Monster's explosive success wasn't without challenges. Public health controversies erupted around the world about energy drinks, pushing Rodney into a congressional hearing. But ironically, this scrutiny only enhanced Monster's appeal. The drink became a symbol of youth rebellion, something your parents and your teachers explicitly warned you against. So how did a former tax lawyer from Johannesburg build a $10 billion energy empire? Rodney credits Monster's culture: open, inclusive, and innovative. He famously relies heavily on insights from young employees rather than stale marketing. This approach keeps Monster authentic, fresh, and directly aligned to its key audience. Today, Monster faces fresh competition, particularly from newer brands like Celsius, Bang Energy, and Prime. Rodney responded aggressively, successfully suing and then acquiring Bang Energy, strategically positioning Monster to remain dominant. Monster Energy isn't just a beverage, it's a testament to strategic branding, unmatched distribution, relentless focus on customer culture, and a fearless founder who listened when others didn't. Rodney Sacks turned caffeinated sugar water into a global phenomenon, and for any entrepreneur, there is plenty to learn from his extraordinary story. And this is the story of Monster Energy. A guy who dared, left his home, went to another country, strategically positioned himself in a market that he felt he could add value to, and then made it and turned it into a whole other empire, even when incumbents made it seem like it's impossible to penetrate that market. This is the story of Rodney Sacks, the story of Monster Energy.
The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We want pride! We want pride!
Every huge brand has an origin story, but this one started on YouTube. Two guys, one beef, and a beverage that became more legend than liquid. Welcome to Prime Energy, born from internet drama, ambition, and a plan to flip influencer fame into fizzy sales. Hi, I'm Mukembe Norris and welcome to Farm to Feast, where we track the brands, deals, and the people changing how the world eats. We're a new channel and we hope you can come with us on this journey. So just like, subscribe, and follow us as we give you the business of foods, one bite at a time. Now let's rewind. This is Logan Paul.
This is going to be the biggest event in YouTube history, by far, possibly the biggest event on the internet ever.
And this guy is KSI. Rival YouTubers who turned their feud into fodder for content. In 2022, they decided to collaborate on something bigger. They decided to create a sports energy drink. And the idea was no traditional beverage execs, no cold calling distributors, just two creators and their content reactors, all their millions of subscribers and followers. And with one shared belief that if you've got a camera and an audience, then you got a brand. So to start off, they teamed up with manufacturers familiar with private label beverages. Prime's UK operations were run through a private label arrangement with Refresco, a major bottler that adapted its equipment specifically to the brand's bespoke bottle design. Oh, and remember the name Refresco, because we speak about them a little bit more in detail later. So back to Logan Paul and KSI, who tapped into their networks that they built through boxing promotions, gaming, and merch. This product wasn't built in the boardroom. Rather, this was a product conceived from the comment section, tested in clips, and sold via drop culture. Prime was a product born from creative economy DNA. And then it exploded. Drop-based scarcity stoked the hype. Fans camping outside Targets. Bottles flipped for double the price online. It wasn't the calories or lack thereof that sold Prime. It was the vibes. Every influencer unboxed, every meme generated, every gym selfie with a colorful can was another spark. They didn't need ads because every post was an ad.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. This is incredible. Keep going.
Unfortunately, hype doesn't last forever. Health concerns and discontent occurred. The honeymoon was over and things got real. When Prime started out, they were a sports drink, something you would see kids chug after soccer practice. But then they jumped into the energy drinks game, selling drinks that packed around 200 milligrams of caffeine per can. And what's the problem? The branding barely changed. On store shelves, the drink looked almost identical to the sports version. Parents and even pediatricians worried this made it way too easy for kids to end up with highly caffeinated drinks in their hands without anyone realizing it.
A lot of parents are having these discussions with their children. They're being marketed to children. Let's start with what you think when it comes to caffeine in kids, do you think they should be really having any at all?
But unfortunately, no. Under 18, we just don't know how it'll affect kids, and we know that in higher quantities that can affect really negatively, psychological effects, behavioral effects, cognitive effects, and cardiovascular effects.
That's one of the big ones.
Some countries flagged it. The UK implemented an under 18 ban, and similar restrictions followed in Australia, Norway, and Canada. Lawmakers and regulators began weighing in, questioning marketing practices and caffeine content.
Buyer and parents beware, because it's a serious health concern for the kids it so feverishly targets.
Logan Paul attempted to calm things down.
It's an industry standard amount of caffeine. It has 200 milligrams of caffeine, and that's nothing revolutionary or out of the ordinary. It's the same amount as Gatorade's Fast Twitch. It's the same amount as Celsius, and even less, 100 milligrams less than Bang Energy. What we're doing is comparable to every other competitor in the market.
This 12-ounce can of Red Bull has 160 calories.
The same size can of Prime Energy only has 10 calories.
That means you have to drink a Prime Energy this big to consume the same amount of calories as in this Red Bull.
Why would you do that to yourself?
You wouldn't. Drink Prime.
But many felt it lacked a little bit of nuance and empathy. Rather than pausing the hype machine, he leaned into it, and that only intensified the criticism. Oh, and remember Refresco from earlier? They ended up suing Prime, alleging a breach of their multi-million-dollar production agreement, and they're seeking about $68 million in damages. The bottom line, when your product is as flashy as Prime, you can't just wave off rising health concerns. So as it stands now with Prime, I think there's three main problems that we noticed while researching this story. The first one I'd say is questionable partnerships. It's all well and good to start a sports drink company, and they actually had success while they were doing a sports drink company. But then the problem started when they pivoted into the energy drinks. Launching an energy drink to young consumers, which KSI and Logan Paul made up more of their co-following, seemed a little bit tone deaf. And it makes you question whether the right people to start an energy drinks company for their target demographic. And the second category I'd say is ethics and responsibility. With the youthful audience, did they do enough to vet safety? And problem number 3, persona-product misalignment. You can't build trust if your audience feels manipulated. Hype can indict interest, yes, and KSI and Logan Paul had a lot of it, and clearly the results showed. But without authenticity, it can't sustain loyalty or a business. As of now, Prime is still on the shelves, barely, but the fever has cooled. Initially, numbers were staggering. Hundreds of millions in 1 year scaled claims of it hitting $1 billion in revenue. But sustaining that required more surefire drops and viral videos. Without fresh hype, shelf movement slowed. Compared to the early craze, and you see the message is clear. Hype-built brands need plan Bs for brand building. And that's just the story of Prime. Here's the thing. Prime's story is wild, but it carries a lesson. Creator-driven brands are the next frontier, especially in the premium CPG market. They harness fandom, relatability, and speed. But without real authenticity and responsibility, they risk fizzling out. Or worse, backlash. If you're building a brand from the creative economy, the secret isn't just hype, it's how you lean into trust. That's where the sustainability lives. Thank you for watching another episode of Farm to Feast. We're a new channel and we aim to be your backstage pass to the food and food business and everything in and around food. So we appreciate a like, comment, and for you to grow with us on this journey. Thank you for your support.
You know the number one manufacturer of it? Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. They still use the coca leaf for flavor for Coca-Cola, but
like they shut down the cocaine molecule somehow.
They extract it,
right,
and they use it to produce medical grade cocaine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then something of that still gets into Coke.
The flavor is what's in Coke. I guess it's the flavonoids. That's what's in Coca-Cola. And it used to be cocaine was in Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I would like to go back and try some of that. I'd like to go, like, what was that like? Like, how much cocaine was in there?
You ever wonder or think about the history of something that you drink every single day? Like, how does this become this? Back in the 1860s, Europe went absolutely nuts over a wine laced with coca leaf. It was called Vini Mariani. Celebrities loved it, authors sang its praises, and Pope Leo XIII even gave it his personal endorsement. They all promised it gave you vigor, focus, and a whole lot of vitality. And then Americans looked at that idea and said, of course, let's carbonate it. That's the origin story of Coca-Cola, a little known tonic that once linked Coca and cola in the same glass. Today, Coke is obviously completely cocaine-free, but the story of how it got there isn't just about a recipe for change. It's about how we, as a society, draw the lines between a stimulant and a street drug, the lines between food and pharmaceuticals, and the lines between culture and crime. So now let's take a step back in time to the wine, the lawsuits, the loophole, and of course, the lobbyists. So, we're in Paris. Vini Mariani is blending a Bordeaux wine with coca leaves. The alcohol from the wine literally pulls the cocaine out of the leaves. And the ads are claiming this stuff restores health and energy. It's a hard sell for sure, but a massive one. And it becomes a total craze. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, an Atlanta pharmacist named John Pemberton is watching all of this. He riffs on the formula and launches his own version. French wine, cocoa. But then in 1886, local temperance laws forced his hand. The wine had to go, so he kept the coca and the cola and just added carbonation. And with this, Coca-Cola is born. Did Coca-Cola contain cocaine? Yeah, at first. Early Coke used the coca leaf extract. Back when the public hadn't turned, its back on cocaine. But then by the early 1900s, the tide shifts. Newspapers and reformers start to hammering this idea of the risks of Coke, and Coca-Cola quietly removes the cocaine around 1903. And later relies on different kinds of coca leaf, ones where the drug has already been removed. So basically, it was just coca, the taste, without the cocaine. But the fight over stimulants didn't just end there. In 1909, the US government sued the company. So it was around this time their argument was Coca-Cola was secretly loading its bottles with risky stimulants. enter caffeine. The case, United States versus 40 barrels and 20 kegs of Coca-Cola, ends up in the Supreme Court in 1916. The company eventually cuts its caffeine and pays to settle the whole thing. The brand survives, but the stimulant stays, just a little more subdued. So we have no cocaine and a little less caffeine. A quick, satisfying win for science. Then comes 1929. Industrial chemistry perfects a new way to remove all the psychoactive alkaloids from the coca leaf. This means Coke can keep its unique flavor without any of the drugs. That's the modern line in the sand. Now here's the part that most people don't see. To legally use that decoconized coca extract, you need a very controlled supply chain. In the US, that runs through one gate, a DEA-registered chemical plant in Maywood, New Jersey, operated by a company called Staypan. So Staypan imports the coca leaves, removes the cocaine for, pharmaceutical purposes. And then they sell the cocaine-free extractors flavoring famously for Coca-Cola. So according to a landmark New York Times report from 1988, it spells it all out that Maywood Lab was the nation's only legal commercial importer of coca leaves. The pipeline is tiny, but it's very, very real. Over the decades, anti-narcotics laws kept this explicit language protecting decoconized extract, creating a narrow legal lane Coke could drive through. History notes that the company pushes hard to protect the Coke supply, from lobbying for exemptions during import debates to even experimenting with covert coca projects in Hawaii in the 1960s. I guess that's what smart incumbents do. They lock down their inputs, control their supply, control their risks, and then scale globally. So let's fast forward today. And I asked this question. So why is caffeine okay in soda, but other plant compounds aren't? The short answer is just regulatory confidence and dose. In US law, caffeine is generally recognized as safe. In cola-type beverages for up to 0.02%, the rules are specific and the lane is clear. Now let's compare that to kratom, a Southeast Asian leaf with opioid-like qualities. The FDA says that kratom is not lawfully marketed in the US as a food additive. But in 2025, they even went after products containing a specific alkaloid, flagging it as an emerging public health threat.
Roughly 85% of the vape products are illegal vape products. We know that because the FDA publishes a list of legal vape products, and no cutesy, fruity flavor designed to appeal to children or a video game vape product device is legal or approved by the FDA. I've been surprised that the candies and gummies and drinks and ice cream cones, here's one drink with 7-OH in it. There are other products that get added to drinks. Do we understand what 7-OH is at public health scale? Let's not get caught flat-footed again. We're not targeting the kratom leaf or ground-up kratom. We are targeting the concentrated synthetic byproduct that is an opioid. The Trump administration is deeply committed to preventing another wave of the opioid epidemic.
Now you're in the same grocery store aisle, but these two products have wildly different risk profiles and therefore wildly different rule books.
New at 4, metro area residents who take what some consider a dangerous herb to treat pain are defending the supplement. The feds are close to deciding whether to classify kratom as an illegal drug.
Day after Governor Robert Bentley signed a bill to ban kratom, Etowah County is immediately making an effort to remove it from the streets.
Yeah, law enforcement is seizing kratom from shelves and investigating stores known to sell the product. CBS 42 News reporter Matt Fernandez is live in Gadsden with the first kratom raid under this new law.
As soon as kratom became illegal yesterday, law enforcement hitting the streets in Etowah County. They seized more than $100,000 worth of kratom. No arrests were made, but there was a warning. If they sell it today, they will be arrested.
750 milligrams. Okay.
So not quite a gram.
Not quite a gram. All right. That seems like a reasonable amount. But they always construct these things in these ridiculous, dramatic oppositions, like it was me versus a woman whose son had died of some kratom-associated overdose. And, you know, it turns into a thing like, well, what do you have to say to this woman whose son died? It's like, I don't know. You know, there are people that die from caffeine overdoses as well. It's tragic that this happens.
Have people died from this?
Yes.
How much do you have to take?
An enormous amount. I mean, I think a lot of people set up these unrealistic expectations with these drugs where if they like a drug, they want to say it's impossible for it to kill anyone. It's impossible. There's no possible way. If you set that as your standard, you'll always fail because people will die doing absolutely everything. Running, having sex, defecating. Aspirin, absolutely. There's nothing in this world that can't find its way into a human death. So if people want to say, and even, you know, cannabis, obviously, people say you can't overdose on cannabis, and essentially you can't. But if you look in the medical literature, there are a number of these cannabis-associated fatalities. You know, you can debate them endlessly, but the point is once a drug enters a large enough population, there'll be a number of sensitive individuals, and someone will die. It doesn't mean that the drug is dangerous. It means that it's unrealistic to set a standard where if anything bad happens to anyone, we have to decide that the drug is dangerous and should be banned.
So let's fast forward to today, where we have this upcoming craze of wellness drinks. You know, and compare it to the story of Coke, this is kind of a gray zone today. Brands are pushing for things like, you know, natural energy, calming or focus, with novel additives and ingredients racing ahead of the science while regulators play catch up. And here's the thing, we've been here before. The Coca-Cola story is a time lapse of how a country decides what's a beverage and what is a drug, and how powerful companies get to decide and shape who makes that decision. But here's the uncomfortable question. Is the line we drew based on pharmacology or on power? With Coke, the company built a legal exclusive path for an ingredient most of its rivals couldn't touch, decoconized cocoa, while the government defined caffeine safety down to a decimal. That's not shady in itself per se, but it's strategic. But it also shows how policy plus lobbying plus logistics can lock in advantages for companies and for, you know, certain people for decades to come. So, when we look at today's functional beverages, whether it's those mega caffeine energy drinks sponsored by influencers, or a new plant-based tonic, you know, which promises focus and vitality, the ethical test is the same. Are the claims ahead of their time? Are the doses and risks transparent? And who bears the cost when we move that line? From cocaine, wine, to caffeine law, this is really a story about the rules and who gets to write them. The drinks changed, but the playbook didn't. I'm Mukembe Norris, and this has been a Farm to Feast original. Thank you for watching. If you like our content and you like what we talk about, I'd like you to press the subscribe button and like our videos. You know, this helps us, you know, work with the algorithm and get more of our content out there. And then also let me know what stories you'd want me to cover, what food stories. Farm to Feast is a channel where we focus on food, the food we eat, the people that make it, and just policy and everything in and around food. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a community that does that. So I thank you for everyone who supported us so far, and thank you. See you on the next one.
First off, from Asia we have Thailand's Carabao Dang. You've probably seen it on the pitch. Literally. They sponsor the English League Cup, aka the Carabao Cup. A Thai energy drink taking over British football? Bold. It was created in 2002 by Sathyan Sethasit and Yuenyong Ayad Carabao Opakul, a Thai entrepreneur and the lead singer of the band Carabao, respectively. The name means red water buffalo, which is fitting. Loud, strong, and impossible to ignore. They've sold hundreds of thousands of cans in Thailand alone over the last 5 years, and their exports are growing fast. Carabao isn't shy about the hype either. They have ambassadors, flashy campaigns, and stadium banners. It's the kind of local brand that punches way above its weight, proving Asia knows energy drinks too. Next up, from Europe we have Austria's Red Bull. It was created in 1987 by Dietrich Mateschitz and Chaleo Uvidya, who spotted a Thai energy drink called Krading Dang and thought, we can globalize this. They reworked the formula, branded it Red Bull, and introduced it worldwide, a small Austrian company aiming for the skies. Literally. And speaking of skies, Red Bull made headlines when Felix Baumgartner jumped from the edge of space in 2012. Millions watched as he broke the sound barrier, all fueled by a can of Red Bull. On the sales front, it's massive. Their global revenue topped $12 billion in 2023, and they've sold billions of cans over the last decade. They've also gone major in sports. Red Bull owns multiple football clubs, including RB Leipzig in Germany and the New York Red Bulls in the US, and they run the Red Bull Racing Formula One team, turning a simple energy drink into a global sports empire. If you want the full Red Bull story, check the description or our channel. We've got a whole video on it. From Africa, we have South Africa's Mofaya. So far, this list has focused on the biggest global giants, but Mofaya is major in a very different way. It's major because it was built by a humble entrepreneur's vision, sweat, and persistence, not a corporate machine. Mofaya was co-founded in 2013 by DJ Sibusiso Leope, and Sifiwe Likuleni Shongwe, marking it as South Africa's first proudly black-owned energy drink. DJ Sbu, a well-known DJ and media personality, couldn't get his product into stores at first. So he hit the streets, selling cans directly and giving others the chance to sell them too, creating jobs and building a loyal following along the way. After years of hustling, Mofaya achieved a major milestone in 2023 by landing a distribution deal with ShopRite Checkers, one of South Africa's largest retailers. Today, Mofaya is a symbol of entrepreneurship and determination, showing that a local brand can make a real impact without billions in backing. From Oceania, we have V Energy Drink, a staple from New Zealand. V Energy isn't a niche player. It's been fueling Kiwis since 1997 and is arguably the region's most recognized energy drink. Its founder, the Parrish family, originally part of Frucor, a local beverage company, wanted something bold, fizzy, and unmistakably Kiwi, and V delivered. Basically, V Energy is New Zealand's secret to staying awake during those 3-hour cricket matches. The brand went beyond just cans on shelves. It became part of the local culture through extreme sports sponsorships, music events, and iconic marketing campaigns that made V a household name. It's also a local champion in retail. Hundreds of thousands of cans are sold annually across New Zealand and Australia, and it even exports to Asia and the Pacific, proving that a strong regional identity can travel. Next up, South America. We have Flying Horse, Brazil's homegrown energy drink, founded in 1998. While South America isn't exactly bursting with local energy drink giants, Flying Horse has carved out a strong spot in Brazil's retail scene. Originally an independent brand, it recently got acquired by Britvic in October 2023, marking a major milestone for a drink that started small but stayed fiercely local for decades. Hundreds of thousands of cans are sold annually across Brazil, and the brand has even ventured into neighboring countries, proving that South American energy drink culture isn't just about imports. Flying Horse is a reminder that a local brand with staying power can energize a whole region, not by flying over the Amazon, but by fueling it. North America, Monster Energy. On the list, we've got another South African, Rodney Sacks. Before he was selling cans with claws on them, he was a high-powered lawyer in Johannesburg, one of the youngest partners at the firm Worksmans. In the 1990s, he and fellow expat Hilton Schlossberg took a huge gamble. They bought a struggling juice company in California called Hansen's for about $14 million. Hansen's was selling sodas and fruit juices. Decent, but forgettable. Then came the pivot that changed everything. In 2002, they launched Monster Energy, and 10 years later, they went all in, ditching the Hansen's name completely and rebranding the company as Monster Beverage. And here's where it gets interesting. Monster became more than a drink. It became a lifestyle. The flavors themselves told the story. The sleek white Monster can, the bold Monster Java for coffee lovers, and Monster Rehab, half energy drink, half iced tea, which is the quote-unquote day after recovery drink. Then came the deal that sent them global. In 2014, Coca-Cola bought a 16.7% stake in the company and handed Monster its worldwide distribution network. Overnight, the Green Claw was everywhere. Every corner store, every gas station, every sports arena. The scale is staggering. In 2024, Monster pulled in $6.86 billion in energy drink sales, shipping over 846 million cases. That's almost 1 billion cans of liquid adrenaline. And here's a little fact most people miss. Sacks and Schlossberg didn't stop with drinks. In 2025, they bought up Thrifty Ice Cream, a nostalgic California brand. Because when you've already conquered energy, why not take dessert too? We've also got a full video on Monster Energy. You'll find it linked in the description and on our channel. And finally, on the list, we have Antarctica.
We should find this. That's it. We found it.
Psych! Thank you for watching another episode of Farm to Feast. We're a new channel and we aim to be your backstage pass to the food and food business and everything in and around food. So we appreciate a like, comment, and then for you to grow with us on this journey. If you like this episode, I want you to click on either side of me, one of these sides, any other video, you can watch that, and also get in touch with us. Thank you for your support.